Well, you know, as a result of the rebellion, you know, of course, that most people call it a riot.
Right, right.
And we called it a rebellion because it was a very righteous act. As a result of the rebellion, the white power structure got scared as hell. And they knew that a white mayor would never be able to control the city. We'd never have law and order anymore with a white mayor. So we got a black mayor. We got a black mayor both because we deserved one, but also because the white power structure was scared. And I think it's very interesting. You always have to look at something like that that's happening, not only in terms of what is positive, but also in terms of what's happening. Because one of the reasons why so many people support Obama in the power structure is because we need to recover our reputation around the world. And so, I mean, everything contains both the positive and the negative. And so Coleman Young came to power. Coleman was a very, very smart man. He had been a radical. He'd been a worker. He'd been on a lot of picket lines. He was a left-wing guy, and he could get rid of racism down City Hall, in the fire department, in the police department, as far as hiring a black police chief and a black fire chief and so forth are concerned. But he couldn't do anything about the fact that the plants were leaving the city. And he desperately tried to do something about it. What he did was he gave tax breaks to, for example, the GM plant. Have you seen the Poletown plant? The Poletown plant, the GM plant, which was supposed to hire 6,000 workers, has never hired more than 3,000. And what he did was he bulldozed a whole community, 1,500 houses, 600 businesses, churches and schools, in order to let GM build a plant. But that was one plant. Meanwhile, all sorts of other plants were floating down. And smart as he was, Coleman did not realize that we were entering into a new epoch, an epoch of deindustrialization, that the new means of production, that the information technology, the high tech and all that, meant that we were no longer in an age where we had just labor as such, and that was actually progressive. But the reason that's very difficult to understand. So he kept trying to bring back plants, and when he couldn't do that, in 1988, this was already his fourth term, he was first elected in 1974, he said, we've got to have casinos. He says, we've got to have the casino industry will bring us 50,000 jobs, and that will solve our problems. And that created quite a sentiment in the community. We joined a group called Detroiters Uniting, which included preachers, included cultural workers, included workers, because there was a pride in working in the city. And we were able to defeat him. But while we were carrying out the struggle, he called us naysayers. And he says, you guys have no alternative. What is your alternative? And that was the best question he could ever ask us. We were so glad to get that question, because we had to think then, what is our alternative? And we began to realize that that was what helped us to realize, to draw the conclusion that we had to think differently about cities, that the cities which had been built on industry were no longer going to be able to depend on industry. That we had to begin to think in terms of how we grow our own food, how we have our own small businesses, how we have businesses that serve the community rather than communities that are at the mercy of businesses. And that created that was a tremendous awakening for us when we created this group called Detroit Summer, which was based on young people rebuilding, redefining, and respiriting the city from the ground up. And that led to amazing things. What the young people did was the older people who had been born in the South were already beginning to use the vacant lots to grow food. So the young people worked with them, and it began to create a whole new connection between the generations and between the people and the earth. And that began to create a vision for the city that was very different. And you know, when you ever try to do anything, you really need a vision. You have to understand what a vision is. A vision isn't just a picture. A vision is of something, of new possibilities, of a new way of living in the world, a new way of living with one another. And Detroit Summer was magical as a result of the work that Detroit Summer was doing, as a result of children, young people and elders working together. Gardens sprang up all over the place. Church gardens, school gardens, hospital gardens, senior citizens gardens, Hope Takes Root gardens. And so an agricultural movement emerged, and what we call an urban agricultural movement, which is now exploding all over the country. Mm-hmm. People are realizing that for healthy food, we have to grow our own food. That when we bring in food all the way from factories, you know, the field, mm-hmm. from California, from Florida, there's danger not only of disease, you know, like the spinach thing, but there's also, we begin to lose contact with the land. And so, and we also, with the global warming, which wasn't as much an emergency then, we also helped to create the global warming. And so that has made Detroit a sort of city of hope that's sort of known all over the country. People come here from all over the country, students come here from all over the country, because they see here the opportunity for something new, for a new age.